What's good, everybody? It's Mike Reed, and welcome to My Life Ministries, where leadership, influence, faith, and evolvement are the principles that we live by on a daily. And by us living by those principles, it allows us to help youth become motivated young leaders who will be implementing faith every day in their life. So on today, I'm going to be coming from 1 Corinthians 15 and 33, and I'm going to be reading out of the NIV version. And what it says is, do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. And this message is for anybody, but it's most definitely for youth of today's generation. And what I want to say is, when I was reading that, God gave me a title, and the title of the message is Character is Everything. So when I think about the youth and I just think about people in general, I just want to say, stay away from people who bring out the person that you're not trying to be. Stay away from people who bring out the person that you're not trying to be. And the reason you stay away from individuals that try to bring out the person is because they don't have your best interests in mind. And sometimes that's hard to see. Sometimes it's very hard to see. Sometimes you even look over the fact of it. Sometimes you just ignore the fact that you're engaged with people that you don't need to be around. So to every young person, every person out there, your character is everything. Never forget that. That character is what makes you. Character is what pushes you. Character is how people view you, and character is how people see you at all times. So never forget that. So you have to be careful, because the world will label you based off of how you portray yourself. Based off of how you portray yourself. And the way you portray yourself will either grow your character or destroy your character. And once your character is destroyed, it becomes extremely difficult to rebuild. So never forget that. If you destroy your character because you're portraying yourself as something or whatever it is, then it's extremely hard to rebuild that, because people will always look at you a certain way. So in my opinion, I believe that there is 5 principles to live by in order to build your character, or in order to grow your character. So number 1 is to keep God first and build a relationship with him. Through God, he will give you guidance and direction of how you need to live your life. Number 2 is honesty. Be in honesty. Be truthful and sincere. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. I remember growing up, we used to use a phrase where we would say, you don't have to lie to kick it. So be honest and stop trying to be something that you are not. Be honest with yourself and stop trying to be something that you are not, because it's going to take you nowhere. It's going to lead you down a path of destruction. And you're not going to like where that path is. You're not going to like how that destruction looks. You're not going to like what it brings you to. You're not going to like the chaos that it brings to your life. So stop trying to be something that you're not. You do not have to lie to kick it. So stop doing that. Number 3 is respect. Be respectful to yourself. Be respectful to others, and be respectful to your elders. You see, when you sow respect, you will reap respect. You don't have to make people respect you. God's favor will cause respect to follow you every single day of your life. Never forget that. Number 4 is courage. Be bold in what you believe in, and let God's light shine through you. Set goals and conquer them, and know that you have the strength to overcome any temptation. Any temptation. Number 5 is humility. Never confuse confidence with arrogance. Any confidence you feel within yourself, never forget that it's God who gave it to you. Never forget that it's God who gave it to you. So don't be misled and allow your character to be looked upon as something negative for the sake of people. Because when you begin to allow your character to be looked upon for the sake of people, that's when you're going to end up being something that you're not. Because you're going to always try to fit in. You're going to always try to hold yourself to a certain standard that you know that you're not going to be able to meet. So stop putting this expectation on you, because you want to make sure that you please and you serve other people in a certain way, to the point to where you forget who you are as a person. See, your character is something that it builds your future. Your character is something that strengthens your relationship in God. Your character is something that strengthens you in relationships just in general. And sometimes we get to a point to where we forget that. We forget how important it is. Now, as youth and as young people, with being teenagers or being adolescents, you're wrapping your mind around whatever it is that you can find. And I know that that is extremely difficult because I was a kid once myself. I remember hanging out with the wrong crowd, and I knew that I shouldn't be doing it. I knew that half of the things that I did when I was a teenager that I shouldn't be doing it. And deep down inside, I knew that I needed to make a decision to say, you know what, I need to just let this go. I need to just get away from this. I need to get away from these people. But because I was so worried about cool points, I was so worried about what other people would think about me, that I allowed my character to be talked about in a negative way. And when my character was talked about in a negative way, no matter what good I tried to do, everybody always knew me as a certain thing. And that certain way that people knew me, it stuck with me all the way into my adult years. And what ended up happening is that the character that I created within myself, I fell in love with that character. And that character, it just continued to grow, and it continued to grow, and it grew so big that I really believed that that's who I was. And it became my actual person. And it was such a horrible feeling, because on the inside of me, I was like, I know that I have to be different. But see, you get an opportunity in this world to be whoever it is that you want to be. You can create whoever it is that you want to be, but that does not mean that that is the true you. That does not mean that that's your true self. You're picking and choosing how you want to be this and how you want to be that. But no matter how you look at it, it's never going to be who you really are, because the only person that you're called to be is who God called you to be. So if you're a young person, or if you're an older person, understand and realize what your character is. Understand the character that you're walking in. How are people looking at you? How are people viewing you? And how are you portraying yourself? Are you portraying yourself as a man of God, or are you not? Are you portraying yourself as something as something that the world something to the world that you don't want them to view you as? These are all things that can be changed, because understanding to have good character is all about a choice. To grow in your character is a choice. To live for God is a choice. To walk upright before him is a choice. To let God's light shine through you is a choice. So what choice do you make? How do you change your character to match with the character of God? Because see, God's character is love, and all he does is just love us continually. So how are we going to walk with God and allow our character to change the way that God wants our character to be? So understand who you are. That character is everything. Don't allow yourself to be labeled. Don't allow yourself to be looked at in a negative way. Change up the game within yourself. Change up the way that you think. Change up the way that you move, because everybody is watching. And yeah, you're not doing this because you want, you're looking for people to look at you, or, or the fact that I care what people say about me. No, that's not what is trying to be put across here. What trying to be put across is that understand who you are as a person, and that your character is everything. So not only do you create a false character, but make sure that you are standing in the right type of character trait, and that's the real person that you are. So stay encouraged. Understand that your character is everything. Take on the character of God. Let God's light shine through you, because God is real and he's here to move in you in such a way. Do not allow yourself to hang around or be around people that take you down, that take you to a broken pit, that take you to a deep pit that you're not supposed to be in, or take you to a deep pit that you don't want to be in. Because sometimes we have to understand that when you're walking when you're walking on a road, and this road, it has everything in for your life, from birth to the time that it's time for us to go home. God begins to move in you, and as you're walking on this road, there's so much that he has in store for you. But sometimes, we begin to stray off to the left, and we begin to stray off to the right. And what God does is God begins to try to pull us back, but sometimes we decide to say, what kind of character do I want to have? We start looking at things to the point to where, which direction am I going to go? Am I going to be this, or am I going to be that? We have to figure that out by trusting in God. And God is the one that is going to help us develop the character that we need to develop. So we have to stay on the road that leads us to a better character. We have to stay on the road that's going to lead us to the way that God wants us to go, because our character is everything. And we don't want to be looked upon. We don't want to be stereotyped. We don't want that. Why? Because our character is everything. And we know that the character that we have is the character of God. So we walk in the principles that God wants us to walk in, and we move in the principles that God wants us to move in. So I just wanted to encourage somebody and let people and try to get people to understand that your character is everything. Try to get youth to understand that your character is everything. So stay focused, keep moving, and trust in God. Thank you for listening. You guys have a wonderful day.